The rain was falling hard. A woman stood alone on an old wooden bridge, waiting for someone who had vanished years ago. But tonight, he came back. Only this time, he was not the same man she once loved. As lightning split the sky, a shadow appeared through the rain, and the truth she had buried deep inside was about to rise again. Love does not always end with death. Sometimes, it returns to finish what was left undone. Title: From the Heart, A Love That Never Faded. The evening sky glowed softly, as the last light of the sun kissed the edges of the rice fields. The wind carried the scent of wet soil, mixed with the fragrance of jasmine from the small garden behind her house. Nira stood near the wooden fence, her hands resting on the rough texture of old wood, her eyes lost in the horizon. She was waiting, not for the rain, not for the night, but for someone who once promised to return. Years had passed since that promise, but every sunset still felt like the same evening she said goodbye. She could still remember his voice. Soft, uncertain, trembling between love and fear. Wait for me, he had said. And she did. Every day, every night. Through laughter and tears, through storms and silence. The village changed. Houses grew taller. Roads turned to concrete. But her heart stayed frozen in that one moment of goodbye. Then, one day, a letter arrived. The paper was old, its edges torn and yellowed. The ink slightly smudged as if touched by rain. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, she found only one sentence, written in a familiar, shaky hand. I am coming back, Nira. Her heart raced. The world around her blurred. The sky darkened, and the sound of thunder rolled over the hills. She looked out at the path leading to the old bridge. The same bridge where they had first met. Every drop of rain felt alive, like the earth was whispering his name again. Nira ran, barefoot, through the muddy road, her hair wet, her breath unsteady. When she reached the bridge, she saw a shadow in the rain. A tall figure stood there, motionless, his face hidden beneath a wide straw hat. Her heart stopped. The sound of the rain grew louder, drowning every other noise. She took one step closer, then another. The figure lifted his head slowly, and in that moment, her soul trembled. It was him, but something was different. His eyes looked distant, as if they carried a world of pain. He smiled faintly, but it was not the smile she remembered. The air grew heavy, the rain colder, and a strange chill ran through her spine. She whispered, Is it really you? He nodded once, but said nothing. Nira felt the urge to run to him, to hold him, to feel that warmth again. Yet something in his silence stopped her. The smell of the rain suddenly changed. From the sweetness of the soil, to the sharp scent of burning wood. Her heart pounded. She blinked, and for a moment, the bridge looked empty. No shadow, no footsteps, only the echo of her heartbeat, and the whisper of his name fading in the rain. The rain fell harder, turning the muddy road into a stream of brown water. Nira stood motionless, her dress soaked, her fingers trembling as drops of rain slid down her face like tears. The bridge looked empty now, but she could still feel him there. The echo of his presence hung in the air, a faint vibration that touched her chest every time she breathed. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Her heart was speaking, but her voice had forgotten how. She took a deep breath, her eyes searching every shadow, every flicker of lightning that painted the night for a brief second. He was gone, or perhaps, he had never been there at all. The thought struck her like thunder. Her knees weakened, and she held the railing of the bridge to keep herself from falling. The cold wind brushed against her skin, carrying whispers she could not understand. It was like the rain itself was speaking. Soft, distant, but filled with sorrow. She looked down at the flowing water beneath the bridge. It moved quickly, wildly, like time rushing away from her. Something floated past. A small, broken lantern, its faint light flickering before being swallowed by the darkness. Her breath caught. That lantern. It looked just like the one he had made for her on the night before he left. The memory struck her hard. The night sky had been filled with stars. They had stood by the same bridge, laughing, dreaming, believing that love was stronger than distance. He had lit a lantern, placed it in her hands, and whispered, Whenever you see this light, remember my heart will never fade. And now, years later, that same light had returned to her, broken, flickering, floating away into the darkness. Nira's tears mixed with the rain. The pain that she had buried deep inside came rushing back like a flood. She wanted to scream. She wanted to call his name. But fear sealed her throat shut. Suddenly, a flash of lightning illuminated the other end of the bridge. For a second, just a second, she saw him again. He was standing near the old banyan tree, the one where they had carved their names years ago. His hand rested on the trunk. His head bowed, his body trembling slightly as if in pain. Without thinking, she ran. Her feet splashed through the puddles. Mud sticking to her legs. Her heart racing faster than the storm itself. Arun, she cried. Her voice cracked, but it was filled with desperation and love. The figure turned slowly. Lightning flashed again, and for the first time, she saw his face clearly. It was him. The same eyes, the same lips, the same scar near his jaw from when he fell from a bicycle as a child. But his skin looked pale, almost translucent. His clothes clung to his body, torn and soaked in mud. He looked at her, and his eyes were filled with something she could not name. A mix of love, regret, and unbearable sorrow. She stopped a few steps away. Why did you leave? She whispered. Why did you never come back? He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Only silence. Only rain. Then, slowly, he raised his hand and pointed toward the river. Neera turned her head. The water rushed below, dark and restless. Something glimmered beneath the surface. Something metallic. Her heart pounded violently. She took a few steps closer to the edge, leaning over the railing, her eyes wide with fear. And then she saw it. A motorcycle, half buried in the mud at the bottom of the riverbed. Its frame rusted, its seat torn, its headlight broken. Her body froze. She knew that motorcycle. It was his. The air left her lungs. Her mind refused to accept what her eyes were telling her. She turned back toward the banyan tree. But he was gone again. Only the rain, only the wind, only the faint echo of his name in the storm. Her legs gave way. She fell to her knees, her hands clutching the wet earth. No, she whispered, again and again, as if denial could bring him back. She remembered the rumors, the whispers she had refused to believe. The villagers had said he disappeared on his way back home, that his motorcycle was never found, that perhaps he had drowned in the storm that night. But she had waited anyway. She had kept believing. She had never let her heart accept the truth. Now, standing on the same bridge, she finally understood. He had come back, but not as she had hoped. A sudden calm fell over the rain. The wind softened. The night seemed to hold its breath. Neera stood again, her body shaking, her heart torn between fear and longing. Arun, she whispered softly, her voice breaking, I still love you. A faint glow appeared near the banyan tree again. She turned. It was the same lantern, the one that had floated away earlier. But now, it was burning bright. It hovered in the air, casting a soft golden light across the wet ground. And beside it, she saw him again, smiling, gentle, peaceful. He took a step toward her. For the first time, she did not feel fear. Only warmth, only love. The rain began to slow. The morning sun rose slowly, casting soft rays across the wet fields. Mist floated above the river, and the sound of birds returning after the storm filled the air with life again. Neera stood on the bridge, the same place where her world had changed forever. Her eyes were red from tears, but her heart felt strangely calm. The night's storm had washed away the pain she carried for years. And in its place, a quiet understanding had bloomed. A truth she had always felt but never truly seen. Love never disappears. It transforms. It hides in the wind, in the rain, in the silence between heartbeats. She held the small lantern in her hands. Its glass was cracked, but a faint glow still pulsed within, like the rhythm of a heartbeat. She whispered softly, as if speaking to the morning air. Thank you for coming back, Arun. You kept your promise. The wind stirred gently, brushing through her hair, and for a brief moment, she felt the warmth of a familiar touch on her cheek. It was enough. She walked down the path toward the village, the muddy road now drying under the new sun. Children ran past her, laughing, chasing after paper boats carried by the last traces of the stormwater. Neera smiled. She had spent half her life waiting for love to return. Now, she realized, it had never left. At the small shrine near her house, she lit a candle beside Aaron's old photograph. A picture of him smiling, his eyes full of dreams. She placed the cracked lantern beside it. The candlelight and the faint lantern glow merged, casting a gentle golden hue on his face. Her tears fell silently, but they were not of sorrow anymore. They were tears of peace. Outside, the village bells rang for the morning prayer. The sky turned bright, and the scent of blooming jasmine filled the air. Neera stepped outside and looked toward the fields. The earth smelled fresh, alive, full of promise again. Somewhere deep inside her heart, she heard his voice, soft and eternal. Do not wait anymore, Neera. Live, breathe, love again. She closed her eyes, and a gentle smile appeared on her lips. For the first time, she was not afraid of the silence. Because now, she knew he was part of it. That evening, as the sun began to set, the villagers saw something strange. A small golden light floating above the river, moving slowly with the breeze. then vanishing into the horizon. No one knew what it was. But Nira did. It was his goodbye, and her heart, once heavy with waiting, felt light, free, and full of love once more. She whispered into the wind, I will see you again. When the stars fall upon the rice fields. And somewhere, beyond time, a voice answered softly, I will be there, waiting. The lantern's light faded into the dusk, and the world embraced silence again. But in that silence, love still lived, quietly, eternally, from the heart.